Hello, Internet. Welcome back to another edition of Eric's Corner with a word of the not so wise. Going to do yet another TED Talk with my neighbor Aaron here. Aaron,
Howdy.
welcome back to the show.
It's good to be here.
So I picked the last two subjects, and so he got to pick this one. And of course, we're going to talk about the election.
Yeah.
Aaron, Kamala and her weirdness. You have the floor.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? Like Kamala and her just it's almost like the character from a movie that becomes a monster later, you know? Like I don't know, she's got this crazy thing about her, and it's unsettling to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I understand that people
She's dumb, doesn't interview well. You ask a liberal, she's done 60 interviews in the last 2 weeks. No, she has. She did two, and she sounded like an idiot. And 60 Minutes aired two different versions of it.
Yeah.
And Joe Rogan just talked about this in the Trump interview, which I haven't finished, but I listened to half of it.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think she even interviews poorly. It's the fact that she doesn't interview. An interview is, let me talk to you and ask you questions, a little back and forth and stuff, and she just sits down with pre-scripted content that she wants to rattle off, and regardless of how the interviewer or the correspondent is approaching the situation, she still somehow goes back to script. She's really good at pulling the script, and you can see
Talk
it.
around the question.
Oh, absolutely. She'll talk around the question, and she'll
And I've
bring-
never been to Europe.
It's just weird. And then you can see it. You can watch, as you see different interviews, you can watch her reutilize the same scripted idea over and over and over again. So she's not being a part of the conversation. She's just keeping herself in a little bubble for as long as it takes to get to the election.
Yeah.
She's not even willing to go out there. And the fact of the matter is I still don't know exactly.
So anyway, the
what
brakes
she's
on
gonna
my
do.
truck were screwed up, and so I changed them.
Yeah.
That's literally how bad
Yeah.
it is. Like,
Right. Yeah. Like, what are you talking about? Yeah.
Like, oh,
No,
okay.
she does. She'll go off the rails into other topics very easily and quickly. And she, like you said, I mean, it's the same thing over and over again. It's like she's just running a script, It's like you can see two versions that are slightly different, but they're going to be the same as 2 weeks later.
Well, it was crazy because, like the debate between her and Trump, they kept fact checking Trump and never said anything that she said was completely wrong. I haven't changed my values. Oh well, since I'm in Pennsylvania, I'm glad that the fracking came up. I mean, what does that have anything to do with anything of where you are?
Yeah,
Trump is
Pennsylvania.
always Trump, no matter who he's talking about. Yeah,
Sure.
He's an asshole. I don't know what to tell you, but he's hilarious. Like, I mean,
Yeah, he rolls with the punches. And at least that's the difference, is he's not on a script. I'll tell you that. If somebody's writing a script for him,
I've said some absolutely dumb things on my show. I was talking about global warming. I was at my parents' house, talking about the mountain ranges and the snowpack and everything. And I was like, oh, when I got home from fishing in 2017, I wasn't fishing in 2017. I was in the Navy. Like, it wasn't even 2007. Like, it was 2004. Like, not like 17. Okay, easy blurb to make,
Sure.
but like not even close. Like, why did I say that? But
well,
like,
real human beings make mistakes.
Yeah.
And they say things sometimes in the moment. We're just winging it, man. We're all winging it in life. If you planned every word, I mean,
she flip flops based on who she's standing in front of, and it's
That's
so
weird.
embarrassing. Like,
That's
you do realize
weird.
I have a video of what you've been saying. You've been in the public eye for Biden for 5 decades.
Yeah.
And he just, like, you see him being so gropey and touchy-feely on women and shit, but yet, Trump is just so horrible. Like,
And it's funny too, because character flaw and just character oddity it's their bread and butter. They love going after people. I mean, I was just talking to my wife about that the other day. I don't know how long it's been since I've seen a political ad that wasn't simply smear based. Tell me there are people running for Alaska office that I have no idea what they're running on. I don't know what they want to do.
money.
Yeah, pretty much. But that's the thing, is they don't even talk about their basic plans on the commercials. The commercials are this guy, Nick, whatever his name is, Begich.
Baggage.
Yeah. And they're like, he's a offshore yada yada, and they're just, all they do is talk about, and that's whatever, maybe he has a flaw, maybe the other people have flaws, I don't know, and whatever, but it's just, for the last 20, 30 years or whatever it's been a massive smear campaign the whole time. That is politics now.
Yeah.
It's
obnoxious.
It's horribly obnoxious. I'm sorry, but I want somebody, and maybe you do too, I don't know. But the thing is that I want somebody who's going to run on integrity, who's going to be able to take on those nasty people, but also say, like, you know what? This is what I'm trying to do. This is the goal. This is how we're going to do this. And this is our approach to the office and what we want,
Well, and Trump does that.
He does do that. He smears some, but yeah.
Well, I mean, of course he's going to talk
do.
shit. Of course, that's just how it's going to be to some degree.
Mm-hmm.
But they mentioned he went on The View back when he was just a TV show host, and that's his only accolades or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you tell me how your billion-dollar empire is going. He has 250. He has 250 successful businesses. Some things went bankrupt. Okay.
Well, yeah.
He got some bad people in. I mean, it happens, and they loved him, and then all of a sudden, as soon as he started winning in the polls, they hated him.
Yeah.
And I was just listening to Joe Rogan's podcast. I got halfway through it, and it was just amazing. I mean, I think, we have videos of you people saying these things, and his interview on Oprah, he was preaching this shit 40 years ago. And there was another interview, I don't remember who it was with, but he's like, I don't want to run for president because it's a very mean thing to have to do. I don't want to have to be that mean. It's not me. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And here he is having to do it. And, I hate to say it, I mean, not to be a preachy kind of guy or call up biblical scripture, because I'm going to misquote it, but it doesn't say something like, he who is without sin, throw the first stone.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all kind of not really that great either.
Yeah, he called for he who is without sin to cast the first stone.
Yeah.
Meaning, whoever's perfect here, go ahead and lead the pack, because, everybody has their own problems.
Yeah.
And, and so the Bible, it is a collection of learned experiences throughout history. If it's nothing else, if there's no,
I'm so glad this came up, because we talked about it earlier, and keep going.
It is
we
true.
talked about it earlier. I was like, this is what we need to videotape. Anyway, you were saying collection of things. Anyway,
well, and that's the thing, is people want to act like the Bible is a brainwashing mechanism that's all it is, pure and simple, nothing else. It's garbage. Let's wipe our ass with it. The thing is that it is a historical document that discusses the rising and falls of civilizations, of businesses, of concepts and ways of life.
Genocide.
And they talk about all of it, man. And that's what it is. It's a historical document, and if they take, and who knows, maybe they take some symbolic, or some what is that called? What is that called? Where you make stuff up? There's a word for it, but I can't think of it just now.
Bullshit.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah. So anyway, but the thing is that there's a lot of valid, quality information in there based on how things have gone in the past. And I mean, come on, humans don't change. No. You can change things about yourself, but at the root of the nature of the man, you're always, it's always going to be the same thing. You know what I mean? We're going to repeat, we're going to do, and yada yada.
History repeats itself.
History repeats itself. So the idea of having
learn from those mistakes.
Something, if there's something that you can use to be prepared and to know, like, well, okay, this has been tried and it doesn't really work.
Yeah.
I think why would you want to keep making those mistakes over again? At least utilize it at the best, the best of your ability to do good with, instead of just trashing it.
Yeah. Charlie Kirk mentioned, big shout out Charlie Kirk, big fan. He's like, well, don't you think that the Christian or Catholic, say Catholic or Christian, I honestly don't know the difference. I don't care. But you look at Europe, mostly Catholic, I believe. America, Christian nation. Aren't we doing objectively better than India, the Middle East, Turkey, these Muslim-ran places? I mean, I do believe Christ is king. I do believe, again, not trying to be a Bible thumper here, but I mean, I'm raised under Christian values. I don't really consider myself a super Christian person. Shit, I haven't been to church in years, but oh well. I mean, but I do believe he is the only prophet of God. I do believe he existed. Do I think he rose from the dead? Well, probably not. I think we got some things that are missed. Do I think he died for our sins? Absolutely. Do I think the government executed him? I know they did. You know, but it's a good moral compass.
It's a good, right. And that's really what it was. I mean, because if you want to believe in, it's a difficult thing because I think a lot of people, or at least it seems like a lot of people, they think of God as a character, you know, like Santa Claus or, you know, like Bugs Bunny, right? He's just a made up thing or something like that. You know, I always thought more along the lines of God equals, the universe, the intangible, the things that have come before us and will be there after we're gone, you know, all of existence, things of that nature. I don't necessarily I think that man has this need to identify things with himself or with the things he understands, which is why we see the man on the moon, you know. I mean, it looks like a face. Oh, okay, well, it really doesn't. It just looks like spots on a big white ball. But we want to see a face because that's our nature, right?
Well, before we had science and technology, like you had to explain things. So, God,
right?
God did it. The gods are doing things. Praise them and sacrifice to them and give yourself to them, so they will help you out. Okay, that's fine to some degree, but now we have like science and technology, and things are a lot more explained. We have scientific method. And so forth, experiments, controls, and all this stuff. And I mean, okay, cool, that's fine. Yeah, but we fear the unknown. Like, well, what happens when you die? Well, it's probably a lot like before I was born. I think there's just nothing. You know, and I mean, I would tell my kids something to make them more assured. I would tell them about Jesus and so forth, but not force them to go to church, because I already go to school 5 days a week. I don't want to go to church. The kids there were mean to me. I didn't like it. It was boring. This is terrible.
Well, so, and the thing is that church in the back in the day, it was a community center.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you know, if you want to utilize, center it around the Bible and stuff, that's fine. But the purpose of church is supposed to be, you know, first of all, to appreciate life and to appreciate morality and to appreciate being a good person and trying to, you know, but the root of it really is community. You know, that's what you're supposed to all come together and hang out in one room. It's almost like a big potluck or something like that. You know what I mean? You're supposed to get together. You're supposed to.
So is the VFW.
Well, you could say that at concerts. People say those are. I know music heads that they call the concert church. Because it's a congregation. You know, you all get together and you appreciate things. But offshoots aside, I want to say that I think that church is a good thing when it's done correctly, when it's not a cult or
and not molested
manipulated
by humans.
If it's not manipulated for some sort of self-gain. Well, and I hate to say it, but, you know, I feel like, you know, everybody kind of knows the Catholic Church was a more, I mean, like, the Vatican City has gold everywhere and stuff, you know what I mean? Like, if you're...
An armory in the basement, and...
If you're collecting money, what does God need money for?
They were molesting children, and we all know it. Get out of here. Like,
God's got bills to pay, bro. You know?
Well, in the mega churches that... And that's something even I, as a 12, 13, 14-year-old kid, was just like, well, this is a bunch of personal gain stuff here. This is not...
manipulation.
You people are hypocrites, and you're not practicing what you're preaching, and... You know, not to try and like change topics, because I'm very bad.
Right,
about
we're off on a tangent now.
But like, oh, gay people can't get married. It's like, you've been married 4 times and you beat all your wives. Get the hell out of here. That is not shitting on the sanctity of marriage. It really isn't. And I was a big supporter of that whole thing, but they kept moving the goalpost. All of a sudden they went, oh, hey, we were given everything. Oh, well, now we need everything.
The goalpost is
being gay is a disability. Pay for my sex change. It went way, way too far. Anyway, circle back to the main topic of Kamala being. Well, I can't believe they called Vance a weirdo. It's like, you want to put boys in women's locker rooms. And I know women who are rape victims who are okay with this. Dude, if that's not being a professional victim, I don't know what is. And then you call me a transphobe. This thing wasn't even a thing until, 6-ish years ago when Bruce Jenner got a sex change, and that's a boy.
Yeah.
And I like when people correct you and say, well, she, no, he. Now, if I was interviewing him, I would call him ma'am because it would be polite to do. But I don't correct me like I'm wrong here. I'm wrong.
Yeah.
The sky is orange, and again, we have lanes in parking lots to keep cars spaced out right. We live in a society because everybody kind of follows the rules, and everything flows pretty good.
Yeah. Well, and people shouldn't be so narcissistic. And I hate using sizzle words that everybody uses these days. Narcissism, and but nobody should be so self-centered and so self-worshiping to assume that if they step out the door of their home, that the whole civilization has to adhere to their whims and their perspectives. It's like, dude, I'm sorry, but like,
I gotta go to the store. Everybody pull over.
Yeah.
Get off the road.
You might not know this, but I'm really important. So you should call me what I want to be called. And by the way, I forgive you for not asking me when you first set eyes on me.
Yeah.
This time.
That was that was COVID boredom.
Dude, it's like, get out of here, man.
Z-Zem
Like,
bullshit. That's COVID boredom.
Yeah.
They just made... I don't know a single woman that acts as much of a fruit basket as these dudes pretending to be girls.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
the
dude, you're
Mulvaney's
obnoxious. Like, dude.
The extra feminine.
I could not even have a beer. Dude, I've been to gay bars all over the place. I've had some great conversations. I've brought this stuff up to people in these bars. Like, well, I'd like to get your take on this.
Dude.
And they're happy to explain it. But you put them on the internet, and then all of a sudden they act like an abused dog. Like, well, dude,
no,
like,
I have
can't we
gay
have
friends.
I
have friends who are openly gay and happy in their lifestyle and everything. And it's
but they're cool.
But they're not. Yeah. They're none of them are like assholes.
I would probably trust them around my children. The ones I mingle with, but not.
I know. So I know a couple.
Not usually,
who,
though.
Like, once you get them at the bar and they've got a few beers in them and stuff like that, they start to get a little raunchy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I've been around where I'm like, all
right, you're being a little bit too a little bit too. You're sitting too close to me, dude.
They get a little too raunchy.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, in general, life and everything like that. No, most of them aren't going out, and I've never been cornered by one and told that I need to adhere to their existence, and like I'm the problem because they're not satisfied with their shoes, or something like that. I mean, it's just like,
well, as
most
a white,
normal people don't have those problems.
As a white guy, aren't you a little tired of being accused of being responsible for all the social injustice?
Yeah,
and you know what I really like about the victim worshiper or the professional victim is, like, they throw around white privilege. It's like, you're white, dude. Or girl, you're white, but they feel like if they own it, like, well, I understand your struggle because I'm white privileged, so therefore I'm the same victim as you are. It's victim currency. It's unlimited amount of currency. As soon as, your mediocre achievements are gained, well, even being a victim, look how well I've done in life. It's like, dude, you just put gas in your car, settle down.
Yeah.
We all have to do that. Or when they fail at something mediocre, it's because they're victims of oppression. We're all being oppressed by our government.
Yeah, everybody's oppressed by somebody. I mean, your boss at work, not everybody's boss, but like my boss is awesome. But there are tons of people.
Wink, wink.
Yeah.
no. He seems
Remember
like a
that
good
at
dude.
Ray's time.
In the 0 times I've met him, but yeah.
Yeah, but no, like seriously, there are people who are oppressed by, their husbands or their wives or their friends or their brothers and sisters or
Something's
their parents.
always going to hold
or
you
their
back. I'm
boss
dyslexic. I can barely spell. You ask any of my followers, people will be like, "Oh, you misspelled fisherman." I didn't misspell it. I typoed it, but when I proofread it, I completely blazed over it.
Acceptable behavior. But yeah, no, I think that the problem with all that stuff is that all of the people who are alive today were born.
You look thirsty.
Thank you. Yeah, I am very thirsty. But everybody who's alive today was born within a time. I mean, you got to think about it. All the people from the 60s are now dying.
Yeah.
And those are the people that were there supporting civil rights movements. Not all of them, but, most of them. They're all dying. So everybody who's alive now and who's going to be living in the next 10 years
Haven't seen it like
have
they
never been a part of any of that stuff. And that's the thing. It's like, the people who are angry at slave owners and like all these people who did horrible things, and there's various other examples.
Slavery is going on all over the world still, but
it still is. But the thing is like most U.S. Caucasian males had no skin in that fight. Like, I mean,
well, why am I accountable for what my ancestors did?
Well, that's the thing.
But the professional victim isn't.
Right. You'll never get even with that. That's the problem. All of the anger and all the blame and all of the my bread molded today because of you, Yeah. It's like all that stuff, every problem you can think of that you want to blame on somebody else, the people who actually were part of those problems are gone.
Yeah.
They're dead. They got away with it.
Yeah.
You're never going to get even with them. You can't, because they're fucking gone. Like, that's the thing, and you need to move on, because the people who surround you now are more than likely not going to try to do anything to you.
Yeah.
Most of them, I mean, there's criminals in the world who might try to mug you or something like that, or rob your house, which is unfortunate. But the thing is that most people are fairly decent.
Yeah.
When in the company of others, as long as there's not a mob mentality happening. If people start going crazy, more people go crazy. That's a natural thing. But
that's the brainwashing and emotional response is, get a mob together, push back. Just take out your neighbor and all this. And I said this, and I talked about the trucker strike. It's like, if conservatives wanted to make it hurt, we could stop fixing your house, your car, stop selling you food.
Yeah.
We could make it hurt, but we're not going to do that because we're better people. We just are. We've got logic and reason and so many more things on our side. And I just don't get it. I do not understand I don't get it. And there's just no winning, because as soon as you fix something for them, they find another problem. Like, I think I mentioned before, like, I don't remember if we were talking or it was in one of my videos, like, oh, I need an engine in my car. I'm gay. Will you change it for me? Like, what does that have anything to do with anything?
Here's the price.
Well, I'm a professional victim, so you need to do it for me. It's like, so I owe you labor because you're gay? And if my sons, I got four sons, but 2 are biologically mine. If one of them decided to get a sex change, it would destroy me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit! You know what? I'm glad this came up. By that I mean I'm glad I brought it up.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to apply to a few things. I think I showed you this. I didn't tell you what it said, but so if you go back to your ninth great grandparent, you have 2,048 of them.
Yeah.
So 2 parents, 4 grandparents, 8 grandparents, 6th great grandparent, 256 of them. So 2,048 ninth great grandparents, back 12 generations.
Mm-hmm.
If they lived 70 years, let's just say that's kind of high. That's 280-ish thousand years they have lived.
Right.
You're kind of spitting in their face, not carrying that along. Now, I'm not saying go knock a bunch of girls up and just leave a bunch of kids out, but
sure,
the knowledge and so forth that is generated among that amount of time is insane. And it goes back, that's only 400 years.
Yeah.
That's any one of those lives could have been snuffed out before the next one came along, right, and you would cease to exist. Yeah. So you need to throw something out there. And that's 4,094 ancestors over the course of only 400 years.
Well, I mean,
that would fucking crush me.
Oh, yeah.
Crush me. And I'm not saying I wouldn't love them anymore. I'm not saying I would excommunicate them. But at some point, I would be like, wow, I did something insanely wrong. Or did society just get their hands on them and say, hey, you're a victim, and this is how you get the victim credit score?
Sure. Yeah. Well, every generation
this is going to be an abortion talk as well, but yeah. But
well,
anyway.
And every generation has their own set of issues. I mean, you're never going to avoid that. It's life, you know?
But with the internet, people, the internet is absolutely poisoning people because it's so easy for these fringe victim groups to have too big of a voice. I'm not saying you can't have your voice, that's fine, but don't sit here and if you've never built a boat, right? You probably shouldn't argue with me about building a boat because I've built two of them or was employed to build two of them.
Yeah,
but I've
yeah.
never built a house from start to finish, and you probably have. So we probably shouldn't really discredit each other's.
Well, and that's the big thing. It's like you should be able to be open to experience. That's the deal. Is you learn from others, and then they can learn from you. Because first of all, nobody knows everything.
Yeah.
But it, and that's a key point. So yeah.
Okay, circling back to the main topic, the whole Democrat Party is just going in favor of all this lunacy. Call Vance a weirdo. Like, dude, you want to put men in women's locker rooms. You overlook Biden and his gropey, touchy-feeliness on women. And I absolutely hate the philosophy of how can you be black and vote for Trump? Well, how can you be a woman and just gloss over this? The lynch mob that showed up and wanted, the appointed, judge that not Bennett. Who was the judge? The male judge Trump appointed.
I don't remember the name.
Oh, damn it!
Yeah,
damn it! This is what I hate
we'll
about
have to fact check that later.
Yeah, fact check it later. I'll think of it later. But that Ford chick came forward and said, "Oh, he touched me 30 years ago."
If you
Tara Reid came forward, and there is a documented video of her mom calling the Larry King show and saying he reached his hands down her pants or whatever, and they didn't even investigate it, and they just let it go. They just glossed over it, and then just crickets. Like the Me Too, Believe Her, Believe All Women move, these massive social injustice movements before they even had any facts on it.
Right. It's a big problem to do that. Yeah.
I mean, by all
that's
means.
The thing. It's like, there's two sides to that spectrum, and it's the truth is in the middle, and that's the responsibility of everybody is to stop.
Brett Kavanaugh.
Kavanaugh.
Jeez, I knew it would come to me.
Yeah. That's the responsibility of every single person all the time is to okay, there's information. Okay, we hear your information. Let's going to look into it. We're going to establish, is there evidence? Is there motive? Is there all these things? And then you start to work backwards because it's not perfect. And it's terribly unfortunate when people are accused of crimes they didn't commit, or when people are victims of crime that people may not believe actually happened.
Yeah.
It's terrible and it's horrible. And it's, that's the thing is you can't just give license to assume anything and then just the public opinion, the court
punish off wild accusations.
Yeah, let's go get the pitchforks and go after him because we're bored, No, that's not the way that works. You're supposed to immediately establish a concept of seriousness around the situation, but then you deduce the outcome based on factual evidence and all these things. And sometimes there's no evidence. If you wait 25 years,
30
years, the ship has sailed, man. I mean, I'm sorry, and I hate to say that, but you've lived with it this long, you're going to live with it for the rest of your life.
Because he was elected to a Republican
If there's
position.
money involved, if there's publicity involved,
they've weaponized
any of these things.
They weaponized sexual assault allegations. So it is other women who took women's voice. Mm-hmm. Because now everything you do is going to be looked at with this scrutiny because it is a wild accusation.
When you
or
run wild with it and take advantage of that,
prove it never happened.
It leads other people into not being taken seriously when it is serious. That's a horrible thing. Like you're not supposed to joke around about that stuff.
You can't say, well, prove it didn't happen. You can't prove something didn't happen.
Right. Yeah.
Not being able to prove that it did.
That's the
Okay.
That's
we
the fact,
jury.
You have to prove it did. You can't say, well, prove it didn't because
that's not possible. Prove I've never been scuba diving.
Right.
I haven't, but prove it. Prove I've never been skydiving.
Yeah,
I have. I don't have videos of it, but prove that it never happened.
it's
prove I never went to SEAL school.
it's
Well, I
unfortunate.
can prove that I did, but
Yeah.
It's
unfortunate because what it does is it gives license to dishonest people to get away with things. It's just another weapon in the arsenal.
Well, again, why on earth do people jump on it with one party and not the other? I know the answer to that question, but why on earth does one party get so much credit and okay, hey, no, well, this person just needs to step down and do the right thing versus, well, fuck it, they're a Democrat, it's cool, we don't give a shit. I mean, Hillary Clinton, all the suicides that seem to happen around her.
Yeah.
Joe Biden and Hunter Biden. Do you remember how much they shit on, is it Barron or Barron Trump?
Yeah.
Byron? I thought it was Byron.
Barron.
I think it's Barron. Okay, I've been
Barron.
pronouncing that wrong.
Baron von Trump,
Yeah,
Baron
Trump.
Yeah.
You remember how much they shit on him? He was 12 years old, man. He was just a little kid.
Yeah,
but then,
which is really nasty.
But then Biden's adult son...
If I didn't like you, I would never attack your children.
Probably not.
That's terrible. Yeah.
And his Ukrainian dealings and so forth, and it just gets swept under the rug.
Goes back to that smear stuff. It's
yeah,
like,
well...
why would you do that? Like, you're making yourself look bad.
Oh crap! The senator, I think, of South Carolina, who looks like a horrible used car salesman, or whatever. I mean, I like him. I agree him, but he looks like a horrible used car salesman. Yeah. And he's like, "Oh, I have Hunter Biden's laptop," and this stuff just keeps getting swept under the rug. And Joe Rogan said, if you made an attempt on Biden's life, you'd go after guns. You would tear after him like absolute crazy, and you would not shut the fuck up about it. You'd have pictures of his ear and everything, and you guys say, oh, well, it didn't happen. Well, now who's the conspiracy theorist all of a sudden? He just did it. Dude, I could not sharpshoot somebody's ear from 140 yards away. Get out of here. I'm a good shot.
Right.
I mean.
Did they ever release pictures of his ear?
No, but Joe Rogan, I didn't get to that part in the interview, but Joe Rogan was like, yes, I see that there is in fact a missing part. It was barely, but it's an ear. It bleeds.
I wonder if he'll have a little divot.
Yes, I assume there will be. But I believe Joe Rogan. He has 13 times the viewership of CNN. 13 times, Aaron.
Yeah.
Not double, not triple, not 10 times. 13 times the viewership of CNN.
Imagine that. Imagine having that kind of output, like the ability to reach that many people.
Because he listens and he's a neutralist. Which,
he's super neutralist.
I have a problem with neutralists.
He's gotten more intelligent over time.
Oh, of course.
You can see that he's learning.
Yeah.
Which is really cool because it gives you that human experience.
Yeah. But, I have a problem with neutralists because your enemies, I know where they stand. The neutrals, you never know.
Right.
That was from an episode of Futurama.
Oh, there you go.
yeah, like, I don't like about these neutrals. At least my enemies, I know they're my enemy, but these neutrals, well, you never know when they become an enemy. But
right. Well, but swinging back around to the whole thing, it's like, I think that it's unfortunate that people have to. Human beings, we have this innate, inherent need to belong to a club or a brand or a group or a team. Cars. We have to belong to something. So like when somebody says that they're a Democrat, it almost seems like the policy and the reality go out the window. And the same thing is true of, I'm sorry, but it is true of the Republicans as well.
It's for sure.
You once you become part of that team, you can't turn your back on it for a moment. Some people are realistic, and that's the thing is, if you're realistic, you don't give a shit about who the person is standing behind the podium. It's like, yeah, okay, you take a shower at 3, in the afternoon sometimes, whatever. You eat tacos on Tuesday sometimes.
Perfect.
You're a human being. You have a life behind all of the other stuff, and it's like, but in reality, we have to be more concerned with the actual policies, with the fact that bureaucracy it's like it's weeded its way into everything in our country to the point where you need to get their permission to build a shed in your backyard.
What does society think about this? Well, and that's the thing, like, okay, I'm going to make my property a sewage dump. Well, I mean, no, because it affects other people.
Sure.
If it doesn't affect other people, then fine.
Yeah.
When you start, like, hoarders who, you see these nice, beautiful neighborhoods and the dude's got landfill of a horde. Okay, it affects other people. It stinks. It's gross. It lowers property value.
But that should be a local governing
well,
scenario.
everybody went crying straight to Obama for everything. He said, "Oh yeah, men should be able to use the bathrooms in the women's locker rooms in high school." Why can't you solve that at the school level? Why did you have to make this nationwide? Like, no, get the fuck out of women's bathrooms, dude. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Well, and that goes back to my whole thing I've been saying for a long time now, that we need to go back to state by state, which is the original design.
Yeah.
It's the fact that there's a state for you. You know, ideally, there's a state for you. If you want to live a big party and, you know, have fun and go crazy, go to Vegas.
Yeah.
Go live in Nevada and Vegas and you live it up. It's great. But if you want to go to a place where you can hang your hat and have nice things and enjoy nice scenery,
some property,
and pleasantries, and the birds chirping, you know, go to a state where
go to the country.
Go to the country.
Go to the farmland.
The pretty suburbs, you know, or something like that.
That's why I moved back to Alaska.
Yeah, there's a place for you. That's the beauty of the United States. They're individual groups of land that are available to individuals, and there's lifestyle choices that people can vote on to create. And yeah, so
like the lanes in a parking lot.
Yeah, the lanes in the parking lot. Exactly. Yeah, put your cart away. Like if you can live by those rules. Now, and I understand that, say there are people who are like, I want to shoot heroin and I want to have sex with hookers. You know, I want a state for me. And then there's a state for them, and I understand they bleed out and it starts to pollute. And so I understand the concept of how lifestyles can affect people outside of its general community. But the thing is that as long as the next state says, well, we're not tolerating that because this is our lifestyle and we've chosen this and people have voted on it and the people who live here agree. And, you know, if you go there, you're going to get shook down. You're going to get arrested. You're going to be prosecuted. I mean, they're not going to go there. And if they do, well, we need to weed out the
not going to last very long. Like we've got a meth problem around here, so to speak, and they're getting blasted on the communications pages and people are calling them out. You want to do drugs, fine, do drugs, but why am I paying for them? Why am I paying for you to your medical expenses when you OD? And that's another just insane thing to me with, again, the professional victim. I know women who are rape victims and, well, I don't give a shit if someone's an illegal immigrant. We're being full-blown invaded from the southern border.
Yeah.
And they're voters.
It's not going to go well.
They're voters, the drug trafficking. And I mean, Jesus Christ, I mean, under Trump, we caught so much crime we stopped from bringing in to our country. And we're just important to the third world. And I don't know what to tell you, man.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. So the first time Trump ran, I thought he was vulgar. Yeah. I thought he was uncouth.
You're right.
I thought he had no business running for president because he was...
Not entirely unright, but yeah.
Well, because I figured, you know, this guy is a businessman. Businessmen, they care about the bottom line.
Yeah, okay.
What's the point of business?
But he's caring about the bottom line of the whole country, though.
Well, and that's the thing. So, you know, because I figure, okay, so rich people are going to look out for rich people. They're going to do what's best for the corporation, you know, all these things. And, you know, we're in a world now where corporations are definitely more important than the average man by far to most of the people who are making rules. But you know, but then over time, you know, you see things, you learn things, and if you're reasonable, you can change your mind. Yeah, you can say
it's okay to update your decision and opinions.
That's great. Yeah. I respect you more if you can update your opinion based on the evidence as it's presented to you. And the thing is that
I saw the rest of the video.
Yeah, well, life was better. I mean, I'm sorry. Yeah, life was so much better. And I don't know exactly, you know, how, you know, because I have friends who are Democrats, and I know that they, in their ideal, they see a place where everybody's treated fairly and everybody gets what's coming to them and it's great and
life
stuff like
is
that.
Fair all of a sudden.
But the thing is it's not always like that.
No.
You know, we don't live in utopia where it's all great and perfect. You know, there's going to be unhappy people. There's going to be times where people are taken advantage of and it sucks, but it's part of life.
Yeah.
So, you know, the thing is that in the last several years, it has not gotten any better. It's gotten far worse
Yeah.
for all of us. I mean, economically speaking, socially speaking, the world's kind of flipped upside down
Yeah.
right now. And some would say, like, well, it's only flipped upside down because you see it from a perspective that's one way and you're not willing to change to the next way.
Missed.
But the thing is that I'm a pretty open-minded person.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of open-minded people out there who are in the middle of all of this. And, when you see crazy nonsense and you can see that things are going the wrong way, you just know that's what's happening.
Basic observation.
I don't need somebody to tell me. I don't need a guy on CNN to come on to the TV and tell me that things are great and everybody's happy.
A can of corn is $9.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, we're doing good, I guess.
No.
The hyperinflation, giving all this money to Ukraine. You know what?
Right.
Fuck Ukraine, dude.
Why are
Fuck
we
all
giving
of
money
you.
out? Like,
the Democrats embezzled it back to them goddamn selves. Oh, that didn't happen.
That's another thing is when you
Like, dude,
when you
get
own the company or you're invested in the company that receives the taxpayers' money. That was one of the things Bush should have been shaken down over is the fact that, I mean, what was it? It came out that he and his vice president were stock owners in the company. Halliburton, yeah.
Yeah, Dick Cheney, was the CEO of Halliburton.
Right. People in the face.
Bombed the shit out of the place that's got the oil. Yeah, nothing suspect here. Like,
no, that's
well, now wait a minute. There's got to be something going on here. And you see pictures of Obama and these assholes all rubbing shoulders with each other.
Dude.
I mean, of course they know each other, but like,
who said it? George Carlin. It's a big club, and you're not in it.
George Carlin is the GOAT.
Dude, he
died in 2008, I believe. Maybe it was 12.
Like
I think it was 2008. So he's been gone for a while. Dude, he would be destroying everything going on right now if he was still alive. You see, in his stand-up is timeless. Like, he was calling this shit out back in 95.
He was.
Before the internet, and he's just like...
He was at did you see he was at a summit, like a political gathering where he spoke to members of Congress, I think it was.
I think so.
And he told them, like, his opinion.
He called
was
them
polite.
out. Yeah.
He was polite and he was courteous.
Yeah,
and
not as vulgar as normal.
Yeah, he didn't get nasty about it and create a scene. But he did say things that were a little bit of a shine.
Yeah.
Like,
oh man, he just
great,
wrecked shop, dude.
That's what we need is more people like him.
Well, Dave Chappelle, the stand-up, Trump. Yeah, he's an honest liar. And I heard something on the interview. Oh damn it. What did Trump say? He was talking about the bureaucracy of things.
Yeah.
He said, "Me too, please."
Yep,
he was talking about the bureaucracy of things, and he's like, well, they do this to make extra money. They prolong the building process and all this, so on and so forth. And he's like, well, I would have done the same thing if I was in their position, but I'm going to stop it. It's like, God damn! Yeah. He's like, I mean, yeah, it makes sense. I would do it to make money too, but it's raping the taxpayers and destroying the country.
It's one thing to understand why somebody would do something, but it's another thing to do it yourself if you know it's wrong. And I mean, I understand why they do it. Yeah. I get it. If I had the opportunity to own, a slice of the world and be on the pedestal with the Olympic gods, I can't say it wouldn't be tempting.
Yeah.
But I think that when you grow up in a world where you can see that happening and you're not a part of it, you carry that morality, that sense of appreciation for your fellow man, and it becomes way harder to do it. I mean, selling out, everybody, and I've said this a few times in the past, this is America, everybody has a price.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't. I'm Batman, I can't be bought.
Right. Yeah.
You cannot buy me.
Well, the thing is
you can't buy Joe Rogan either.
We live in a capitalistic society. Well, I've seen Joe Rogan do ads, so he's being bought and paid for by somebody. But what degree? If he believes in the product, like I endorsed Royal Purple. They're not paying me because I believe in the product, because I use it, and I've seen independent YouTubers do stress tests on this that also aren't being paid by anybody. I've seen them do wear tests and blah blah blah. Right.
So, and it's a product I believe in, so I've talked about Royal Purple to name one.
Yeah, and that's the way it should be.
We got
if you truly believe in it.
We're drinking Coors Light right now. I mean, I'm not endorsing them, but I mean, it's You know, I'm
Hey,
drinking
Coors,
it.
if you're watching,
Yeah, Coors, if you want to shoot me some
Reach
cash this
out.
way, but mostly I'm drinking this because fuck Anheuser-Busch and
Yeah,
that Dylan
yeah,
Mulvaney
yeah.
fiasco. Get fucked. So at first we didn't do anything wrong. We just gave him a can. Oh, well, fuck you guys. Why are you guys angry at us over this? Get all the way fucked, dude. You did a
No,
test.
they
You were
bought.
seeing how it would work, and I think the CEOs shorted the stock
Yeah.
because they knew it would happen. McDonald's, all these assholes, it's tanking their stock. Why do they all do this shit? Because they shorted the stock. This is a wild allegation on my point, but why else would they do it?
They think that they're going to
J.K.
appeal to a
Rowling.
certain portion of the society, and maybe, sometimes it goes well, and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it'll bite you in the ass.
Well, J.K. Rowling was like, "Oh, screw this whole movement," and don't buy the new Harry Potter video game. And conservatives went and bought it. When conservatives boycott something, the stock tanks. When liberals boycott something, the stock skyrockets because they demand, well, you need to stop buying this. You need to join our movement. We go, no, fuck that. I'm going to go buy. I remember the first time I remember this happening.
It seems like it's all a brilliant
people were posting on
advertising
Facebook,
effect.
oh, just had some Chick-fil-A. I'm like, what's going on here? And they were like, oh, well, they just said we believe in traditional marriage values. They didn't say anything against gay people. They didn't say they wouldn't hire them. They just said that's where we stand as Chick-fil-A.
In fact,
and their
Chick-fil-A
stock
is pretty
skyrocketed.
outstanding.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I'm just going to tell it the way it is.
Yeah.
I love their food.
Yeah.
I think that their presentation is top class. They have people come out in nice shirts.
And they take orders down the line.
And they do. And they present themselves well.
Hand
and
over
they're
the
always
country
happy.
to Chick-fil-A.
I don't think I've ever
have those
met
guys
a-
run the country. Yeah, like
I don't think I've met a
I've only eaten there a couple
poorly-
times maybe, and the sauce is second to none. They sell it in bottles at the store.
They do.
And
They
that's
have great
awesome. And
stuff,
it's like,
yeah.
well, they're doing something correctly here, but they stick to their
Chick-fil-A.
values. And yeah, if you want to slide a little something my way.
Chick-fil-A. Try it out. But yeah, seriously though, I mean, I mean that. I used to go there all the time when I was living in the lower 48, and they do have a culture of not excellence, but adjacent. Like they care, and they do a good job. And it's like, they always seem kind of happy.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's because of the
they pay them
environment
$15 an hour, 15 years ago when that was a good wage. That CEO pulled up in his Mercedes or whatever and was like, for some reason, decided to harass the drive-through lady. And oh man, this is before viral things were viral or whatever. Oh man, it got so much backlash. He got fired, lost his pension, lost everything. For you support this, you work for a company that's homophobic and blah blah blah. She's like, well, I'm sorry you feel that way, sir, and presented herself very. Why are you harassing this minimum wage worker? Fuck off, dude. Like, we all need jobs. Get the fuck out of here. Lost everything. That made me so happy.
And
so
why
happy.
would you do that? Why would you climb to the top of the
corporate ladder and then risk
ladder,
it like that? Why? For like I talk a lot of shit here, but I've got my contractor's license. I do this stuff. You don't want to hire me? Fine. I don't care. I will make money someplace else.
Oh yeah. There's always
like you can get all the way fucked. Like I don't know what to tell you. Like I did a job for this lesbian couple. I don't know what their political views are. Did I say, no, I'm not going to help you because you're a gay couple? I don't really give a shit. But odds are they're probably conservative. And I told her I'll do the job for $100 because the plumbing shop will probably charge you $250. She was glad to pay. It took me 20 minutes. Well, I mean, I'm doing this short job. I got to drive here. I'm hooking you up and all this good stuff and cool and got follow-on work with them.
Which is a good thing. When you do, when you're making a little money on your time, enough to make it worth it, but you're also doing a good deal for the person, and helping them out.
I got to derail half my day here to do something. And
I used to have clients like that all the time. I would do plumbing and carpentry or general home stuff, whatever.
Dude, people need help. People need to pay you to change a light bulb almost.
Sometimes.
Which is fine. Maybe you're really good with computers. That's fine. We all got to work together. I'm going to come to you when I need computer work done. That's fine. I'm not insulting you, but at some point it's like you should probably be able to change a light bulb.
Yeah, but at one time
to exaggerate.
I had a lunch. I did when I was operating heavy equipment. I would do lunchtime. job runs, and
Yeah.
I would literally clock out, and then I would get in the truck and go and hit up, Martha, whatever, the older lady who needed help because her shower was
Maud
messed up.
or
And,
yep.
yeah, and I would fix it and yada yada. And she'd
Gertrude.
give me like $50.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay,
20
well, I
years
did
ago
it.
was a lot of money. Yeah.
Well, for 20 minutes of your time, because
Yes.
I would be back within my lunch hour.
But they got to pay for the years of time that it took you to learn to do this also.
Well, that's
like,
true. But then when you have like plenty of those lined up, it and that's the thing is when you're dealing with booking jobs and everything, there's a balance, and
Dude, Aaron, an extra $100 a week is $5,200 a year.
Yeah,
that's an insane amount of
well,
money.
if you make $50 in 30 minutes, you're doing all right.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, if you can do it weekly or even a couple times a week, you just went from that's life changing.
There's never a shortage of jobs like that either. But you just have to market yourself the right way. But the problem is if you do that, you get overwhelmed with work, and you can't satisfy everybody's needs, their schedules, things like that, and then you get overwhelmed, and then you're sitting here trying to pencil everybody in. So
that's something I would be really bad about, and people are like, oh, he never showed up. It's like, well, I'm going to tell people you need to hit me up twice a day, and you need to double text me. If I don't hit you up after the third text, you need to call me because I will forget. I got a billion things going on. I don't have a secretary.
There's something to be said for, I've got this thing going on today. This is how long I expect it to take. But you know as well as I do that sometimes you twist the wrench and the nut breaks, and the job gets a lot longer.
Every 15-minute job is one broken bolt away from being a 3-day ordeal. That is a fact.
And so that's where the people have to come into play and say, okay, well, I get it. It's a lot of quid pro quo back and forth. We're trying to make it work.
I replaced the electrode in a water heater, filled the tank up, turned it on. Breaker didn't trip, good to go. Put everything back together. She called me 15 minutes later, like, yeah, it's smoking. Well, the
thermostat.
Yeah, thermostat malfunction. Because I talked to an electrician, and he was like, yeah, no, that should have kicked off. He's like, I don't see what you did wrong. Because I said, well, I'll pay for the part. It was $35. If it was my bad, but it was like I didn't do anything wrong here. But the plumbing store, they might have covered the part, but it also still would have cost you twice as much. So whatever.
Sure.
So I still feel like an
thermostats
asshat.
go bad fairly often.
Yeah, I still felt like an asshat for because I was literally telling her, like, this is a super simple fix, and she's watching me, so she learns. Okay, cool. This is that lesbian couple. Okay, cool. Nice lady. I mean, okay, but I mean, like I said, I mean, I could have easily walked up like, oh, I'm not going to do this because you're a gay couple. I could easily do that. I could easily fly a Trump flag from my business, and if you've got Trump derangement syndrome, I cannot do business with you. We can make this hurt very badly, very badly.
Well, and to some extent, I mean, there's something to be said about people. It's almost like a union in a way. It's like, well, we have a service that we can provide, and if you're not willing to meet us halfway on this topic, usually with unions, it's money and
it's
benefits, and it's the but you could do that socially. You could say, well, I have a service, you need my service, but you're not willing to meet me socially.
Yeah.
You're not willing to park in one parking spot. I need a parking spot. You've taken up 4 because you're completely sideways.
Because cool.
So
you have a BMW. It's always a BMW.
Right. So maybe I'm not going to fix your water heater if you don't park in one spot, so I can park in the one next to it. And there's something to be said about that. I'm not saying that we should all start, avoiding doing our jobs.
I'm not going to let these people turn us against each other.
Yeah, but people
because
should consider that fact. Is like life. Everybody thinks that everything is. It's guaranteed. They take it for granted. It's granted. I'm going to have this, and it's like, well, but the thing is that you need to understand that society is a balance. We all work together to create this thing. And if you take that,
one hand washes the other.
Yeah, if you expect that it's just going to happen regardless of how you treat everyone around you, you might end up being disappointed. Yeah.
It's so profoundly ridiculous. Like, healthcare should be free. It's like, you work for a hospital. Do you work for free? Well, no. Okay.
Right, yeah. Healthcare
I pay taxes too. Like, well, no, you really don't. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I mean, I can't just do this stuff for free. I mean, my labor,
medical industry
my back,
is way
my joints.
overinflated, but
because government got involved.
It is a thing, though.
Just like these socialist cocksuckers on the fucking left. Oh, everything should be free. Yes, we can do it. Keep government out of it. Government made college expensive, healthcare expensive,
Right.
ruin the border,
Yeah.
and then you want to give these assholes more control over things. No,
Right.
get fucked, dude.
We need to we need to shut down a lot of the offices, back
Elon
the
Musk.
bureaucracy up.
He needs to Twitter this bitch and get rid of these assholes.
Elon.
Yeah, and yeah, if you wanna, yeah.
Come on now.
No, like,
I'm telling you, bro.
The EPA, all these positions are not voted positions. They're
No.
appointed.
Right.
They just made something up and started putting assholes in charge of shit. No, fuck you. I need to vote on who is doing the thing. Oh,
Appointed
land doesn't
positions are
vote.
bad.
Yes, it does, asshole. I own 10,000 acres of farmland. I'm growing your fucking food. That land needs a voice. You take my diesel tractor away.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, solve global warming. Well, it's all starved to death. Oh yeah, nailed it. Government.
Right. Yeah.
Who exterminates people? Who causes wars and creates war? Government. That's why I didn't fucking join the
responsible
military.
for the fall of Rome?
Government.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't join the military at a high
Egypt.
school, because I didn't fucking believe in the war. And then I turned 25 and went, well, fuck me. I can't just keep sitting here on the sidelines.
Every time
I got to go
things
do
went to
something about
hell,
it.
It was always based on governmental options, and
Hold that thought. So yeah, I mean, if you're just going to go on success strike, like I call it, until government and society makes things streamlined for you, don't plan to accomplish much. You have to go out there and bust ass. And this, I put out a poll on the local communications page, like, oh, who are you going to vote for? Oh, keep this off. This is not what communications are for. Like, oh, I even brought up Trump, and you're just Trump derangement syndrome and freaking out about it. Like, and this girl shows up like, well, if you can't do good in this economy, I don't know what to tell you. It's like, dude, people around you are suffering. You need to budget your money. Bitch, I'm doing way better than you are. Fuck me. I build boats and houses and engines, and I'm doing good. Not as good as I should be or want to. I'm not living in a better house and all that shit, but don't plan to accomplish much if you're just going to piss and moan. You pissed and moaned the whole time Trump was in. Now you're doing okay because it's a worker's market. Yeah, get the fuck out of here, dude. I don't understand. Oh, she was fat and single and lives in Washington. And okay, well, yeah, good for you. You did better. Yeah, great. It's not about you, dipshit. People around you aren't doing good. I do a lot of things for people around me, and people even, co-signing a loan for a house for somebody and got fucked on it. My buddy, the water pump went out in his truck. I didn't have the time to fix it. I paid to fix it. Hey, fuck it. I got it, bro. You get it back someday. I don't give a shit. I got the means to do it. Great. All these things.
Well, and just for
pay it forward.
Who don't know, I mean, Eric is very much he's the kind of guy who shows up to help you out when you need it. He'll bring the machine that you need, things like that. So
he does it for me too. I honey dick him. I invite him over to drink beer and then make him do chores.
we help each other out all the time. But the thing is that it's not just words. That's an ideology that you live by. And I think that means a lot, because
pick up hitchhikers.
There are good people in the world who can help each other out and build better communities and all that stuff. But there's a lot of people who would just as well, just mock you, make fun of you, try to tear you down, make you feel like you're less than, and then oppose your viewpoints, regardless of whether they're good or bad.
I'll help you if you help yourself. I mean, I can't just give you money every month. I mean, my buddy, I told him, I was like, dude, if you need some diesel to keep your house warm, I'm not going to let you and your kids go cold. Sure. Yeah. I can't just buy all of it. Well, I mean, in a dire situation, but I mean, come on, and it's a micro, one hand washes the other, and we all kind of take care of each other. But yeah, but son of a bitch, you just want. If you and I each make $100,000 a year, let's say, we got a friend that makes $20,000 a year, but we help them out all the time, and they say, well, I should make more. And let's say we go on vacations and we take this friend with us. Let's say we went in and helped them with a car. We changed their oil and we helped them out. And they say, well, I should have what you do. And then they say, well, let's give the money to this other person to distribute it, but we got to pay that person $50,000 a year to do it. And then now we all have $35,000 a piece to split. So they make $15,000 more a year. Now we make 60,000 less or whatever the numbers are. And then that person, all they do is barely anything.
Right.
And then, yeah, you think it's great, but now I can't
No,
help
thank
you out because I'm fucking broke now, you
I
fucking
appreciate the
dipshit.
offer, but no.
Oh, dude, this dude I know pulled into your driveway and he called me. He had dualies and the tire, what the hell happened? The tire came loose or whatever, and he bolted it back on, but he didn't get it on quite straight. Pulled into your driveway. Yeah, this was on Christmas Eve.
Wow.
And was like, oh, hey, is this Eric? I was like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh, I'm having a truck issue. I said, hey, pull it in the shop. I fired up the heater, got them all squared away. Cool, man. Merry Christmas, whatever. Great. Caught me, hadn't been drinking, which, I do better drunk sometimes, but yeah.
Tire could have been a little more cooking.
Yeah, and we got it bolted back on. Okay, cool. And I told him how to fix it. I was like, well, bring it back and everything. Okay, cool. Like,
that's cool. Yeah.
I mean, somebody's broke down alongside the road. If there's an accident, I stop. I mean, I was first on scene of a fatality accident, and I went right out and was right there to help. And it's like, it seems like you liberal cocksuckers always need a conservative redneck to help you, but yet you cut us down and belittle us and act like we're assholes because I think you need to help yourself to some degree.
Right.
Fuck me, man.
Well, and when you bring it back around to the original topic, I think the thing that's most important when you're discussing the whole Kamala versus Trump thing is, you have to look at what they're doing versus what they're talking about.
Yeah.
And you have to be more open to identifying. You have to get past the slander and the talking. Words
actions
are
speak
different.
louder
I can
than
tell you all
words.
kinds of sweet nothings, but the
Yeah.
thing is that if I screw you over all the time,
Yeah.
then I whisper sweet nothings in your ear. You have to get hip to that fact
Yeah.
eventually. You have to say, well, this guy's not doing right.
Come over and drink my beer and then not answer the phone when I need your help. And you do almost every fucking time. Or I can go bang on the door like, oh, fuck,
Yeah.
And it's same with me, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, and that's the thing is you have to be able to watch what they're doing, listen to what they're saying, and you need your common sense, man. You got to have common sense. If you don't have common sense, then just go put your hand in somebody's pocket and tell them to lead you around town. Because
Yeah.
for God's sakes, you're not capable of handling yourself. You need to figure out a way to see the world around you for what it is, and and then that comes back to the whole Kamala thing. It's like sometimes she's full of shit, and she's not,
always.
Yeah, she's not really. She's been a party, literally and figuratively, to the things that have not been serving us well.
No.
For the last several years.
She's put more black people in. She was a prosecuting attorney. She put all kinds of black people in prison for fucking weed. Oh, well, that should be legal. I never did that. Like, what are you talking about? Like,
sometimes when you're a prosecutor, you have a record and you want to obtain that record, which means that you want to win no matter what. And if you want to win no matter what, sometimes you're going to see innocent people jailed.
Lawyers are not trained to find justice.
Truth.
They are trained to win their case.
Yeah.
A public defender that does it.
You have an individual in the middle who may or may not have committed, because sometimes they're guilty.
Eye for an eye.
Yeah. And you have these two people who one wants to win and the other wants to win. And if your goal is to uphold your record over being genuinely interested in the truth,
yeah,
then if you're introduced into the presidency, you're going to be far more interested in upholding your record or your income or your ability to maintain this
power,
sense of power and connection to power. You're not going to be as interested in the truth. You're selling out. You're selling out to your record, and you're selling out to the people who don't want to see.
There it is. That's that profound shit that I want you on my show for. There it is, right there. Like, he says all kinds of smart shit like that, and I'm like, oh, I need you to say that on camera, and then it doesn't really happen.
Sometimes it's easier when we're not on camera. Because there's not the impending,
I feel like this is not. It doesn't have the juice that does when we're just chilling. But a meme that spoke to me very loudly. It said, "If you're a giver, have boundaries and limits, because takers have none." The Democrats are takers, and they take, and they've taken advantage of people's kindness and everything else. And the left, they're just like, oh, well, I'm such a good person because you should help these people. It's like, dude, you can't even help yourself. You live in your mom's fucking guest house. You work for a hospital and you collect a wage, and you rely on me, a white, privileged person, to help you, and you do nothing for me in return, which is fine. I don't expect anything, but I mean, I might need something from time to time. And it's absolutely insane. So about to wrap up.
I think we're ready.
Okay, yeah, sounds good. So thank you for joining us, Aaron Stillwell.
Yep.
We're gonna keep doing these because you got some good advice. I mean,
We'll have more to say. We're gonna congregate
Well,
over a beer or two. And
yeah,
come up with some neat topics.
the first one had like 300 views. I'm like, okay, that's not bad. The next one had like 30. I was like, okay, whatever. We're still doing this.
Yeah,
So
we'll try it again.
so anyway, thank you for joining me. We'll do this again soon. So have a good night.